Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Caninana taking on theBigBot. TBB, or just BB, I guess. Whatever you want to call it. The BigBot is a bot that executes timing attacks very well from our previous video, and it was able to bring down Eris. So now we'll see how it does against the arguably safer playing Caninana. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoy these bots and their wackiness and their crazy speed mining, click that like button if you haven't already. If we can get one like for every APM, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. And then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, as I put out daily videos here. Now let's see, we do have a drone chasing after the probe of the BigBot, which is currently just going for a nice, safe opening, going for a gateway into Cybercore, presumably at some point. The BigBot is indeed speed mining, so it should have the money for that relatively soon. I guess that must have been a very early Nexus for it to not have enough money for a Cybercore reasonably quickly afterwards anyway, as the timings are a little bit different in these bot games. That speed mining really changes things up, and it's basically a necessity to have programmed into your bot if you want it to be competitive. Now we do have an Overlord on the way out for Caninana. Nothing too surprising there. One currently is crossing into the BigBot's base, just saying, yep, I'm an Overlord, I'm here, deal with it. The blue Protoss bot does have one Adept on the way, however it is not done in time in order to block this Zergling from getting on in. So this will be a good test for what is a new bot, or newer. I honestly don't know how old the BigBot is. I will pull that up in a second, but that is a good test for any programmer who's programming a bot. How does their bot deal with something like a Zergling, for example? And in this case, it looks like the BigBot is just gonna let that Zergling scoot on by, as it received a command to go to the main, but it didn't look like it was on attack move. And then so the Zergling's getting a perfect scout for Caninana. And this, as I said, is a big challenge. It's not easy to program your bot in order to respond to things like harassment, like scouting lings, and not have your army just constantly be out of position in other situations. So the BigBot is relatively new. It is programmed by NanoGeo, created the 14th of April 2024 at the 18th of July, which is an older project, but compared to the best bots out there, it is relatively young. We do have an Oracle on the way for the BigBot with a Stalker behind it. I assume we'll see some sort of Twilight tech behind this at some point. Now that Adept and Stalker do end up preventing a Scouting Ling from getting in once again, we do have a very quick third base from the BigBot. Adept does position itself between this pylon and the Nexus. The Stalker's hanging out too. Meanwhile, the Oracle is there. The BigBot does block yet another Ling from getting on in, which is cool to see how it did adjust the position there to body block the Ling. Meanwhile, the Oracle is flying around. It has been energy recharged, so it's got lots of juice. And yeah, Oracles probably are one of the more underutilized units in bot matches, as it is very difficult to program their spells to be effective. We do have some bots that utilize Revelation or use the Pulsar Beam a little bit, but there is a lot of potential for it, because it can be very punishing to, for example, ground units. And let's see, we do have Caninana now going for lots of Zerglings here. In response to what it's seen, looks like it's probably just a safety number of Lings. As I say that though, Caninana lately has been getting a little bit aggressive. which is something that I must have just somehow missed, because I don't think it's really received an update in quite a while. But it seems that on these new maps, it likes to be quite aggressive with all these lings. Let me just double check when Caninana was last updated, because we saw it kill -0 the other day. It's killed Deimos in the ZVP matchup. It's been very lethal. Just waiting for AI Arena to load. And where is Caninana? Number 9 ranked on the ladder right now. But yeah, last updated the 20th of February 2025. So I guess maybe it was changed in that update, or maybe I'm just crazy and have a bad memory. Both things could be true. Who knows? It is going to be a big blink play like we saw against Eris, but Caninana has a ton of lings in order to respond to this. Stalkers are out on creep. The oracles are there to help defend them, and they pop their pulsar beams, but even with oracles helping kill these lings, all these stalkers are going to go down, and the queens actually do pick off one of the oracles. The second oracle will escape and keep trying to hunt down some of these lings. So 40 lings for 10 stalkers. More of the stalkers are going down, fighting without their blink. And this is why it's usually sandbagged with stasis wards, that kind of thing, when the best Protoss players poke out. But even the best Protoss do lose their stalkers to lings at times. They're very good at defending this kind of thing. I imagine things will get infinitely better for the BigBot once blink is done. For now, though, the units don't seem to be firing perfectly when they are surrounded. Probes are now being conscripted into the fight, so this will be a lot of worker losses. The BigBot does have a 4th base behind this, but it's not going to have the workers to saturate that. This Oracle isn't back at home defending. Seems like it wants to group up with the Stalker on the front lines. And there isn't too much more being made. One Void Ray is being produced, weirdly enough, from the BigBot. But who knows, maybe that's just for the base defense. This one Stalker with a few friends is supporting it. So I guess some units are warping in at that 4th base, not at the ravaged 3rd base. So the BigBot falls in workers. Meanwhile, Caninana squeezes out quite a few more. The Stalkers are retreating. The Oracle pops its pulsar beam. It is staying away from the Queens, which is good to see. The Queens definitely did get some shots off, but the Stalkers are staying alive, retreating off of creep. The BigBot does still have a decent enough economy to keep these Stalkers coming, and it is producing 4 more probes at a time. So it's not like the economy is bad, and it's actually getting a lot better with that 4 probe production. The one Oracle is worth its weight in gold, just protecting these Stalkers from the lings. I don't know how many kills that thing has, but it's got to be a decent number. 16, which is no small amount, as the Stalkers have just been doing a pretty good job themselves, retreating off of creep, as the BigBot doesn't seem to be programmed to use that Oracle to reveal the creep. The Oracle actually is dead now as well. Stalkers are poking on forward, which is probably not what they want to be doing here. These guys are all so injured that they just need to retreat all the way home, retreat to these other reinforcing Stalkers. There is charge on the way for the BigBot now, but yeah, those Stalkers in the red are in a lot of trouble. Caninana does have tunneling claws, so there will be no killing of those roaches as long as Caninana micros those correctly, which it generally does. That roach actually did die thanks to the +1. The Stalkers were able to volley it down before it burrowed. Caninana is just spitting out a lot more lings in order to respond to this. The BigBot hasn't quite hit that critical Stalker mass that kills lings, but it is trading quite all right now as we see it retreating back against these lings with just perfect micro for the most part, cruising at 65,000 APM. The Stalkers are just constantly engaging on creep. There should be another round of reinforcements coming as well soon for the BigBot. As I say that, though, it is producing Zealots and yet another Void Ray. I guess the first one it produced must have died, or it must have just canceled that or something, because there's none on the unit's lost tab. Oh, there already is one on the production tab, pardon me. 2 Void Rays. Ignore me. There is those Zealots that were warped in, going for a bit of a run by. They will run head first into all these lings and get surrounded, which is quite nice for Caninana. The BigBot is poking in, finding the Queens without support. The micro for the BigBot, when it gets close to the enemy, definitely is a little bizarre, and those Zealots didn't amount to too much, so the Stalkers are pushed off creep. We'll see what the BigBot will build next. Behind this, there is a Stargate and a Fleet Beacon on the way. So the BigBot kind of lies when it says, I'm a blink all-in charge lot bot. No, it is actually teching to Void Rays, to getting to getting more Stargates up just off these 4 bases. We've yet to see a 5th base. I'm not sure if there's been one attempted and the Zerglings have just blocked it due to the lack of detection. That's a very real possibility, but I do feel like the big bot will probably just stay on 4 bases. We'll see if it can get anything done. It's just been forcing these trades non-stop against Caninana because it does have a better economy and Caninana is struggling to keep up. There is soon going to be +2. However, these Zealots are spilling in now, getting on top of a Queen. That's going to interrupt some of the production if some injects are missed. Caninana's 3rd base is now no longer mining as the big bot, after what has basically been, I don't know, like 5 minutes of straight pushing, has been able to push into the natural, to deny mining at the 3rd, and not just deny mining, but kill it. As Caninana is falling down in supply. It tried to squeeze out a Hydroden, an infestation pit, a hive, adrenal glands, but it just wasn't able to keep up with the crazy production of the big bot, which is now killing off what is the 5th base. More drones are dying. There is another shield upgrade on the way for these stalkers and zealots, and Caninana just has basically no production left. So I think the big bot has shown us that these crazy aggressive timing attacks can bring down the best Zerg bots, beating Eris and now taking down Caninana. I mean, who knows how they'd do in a best of 5 against each other? And, I mean, but still, it is very good execution. Not too much criticism for the big bot at all. Caninana, I guess it just teched up too much, traded out too much, and yeah, it is difficult to say what else Caninana should have done better. It got a nice counterattack off. I mean, maybe just more roaches, less lings sort of thing, as the roaches do tend to trade out quite well, but then the stalkers can volley them down in one shot. So yeah, really just nicely done by the big bot. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see more of the big bot, go ahead, click that like button. If you haven't already, leave a comment down below. And yeah, Caninana is going to be out of here as it's got just one hatchery left. It does have lings running all over the places. 23 drones in the ground, hiding away from this big old Protoss army. Yeah, as far as criticism for the big bot goes, I guess maybe rebuild an Oracle or two if it loses them instead of Void Rays. Use those for detection. Take a 5th base, perhaps. Or not. Just win off 4 bases every time. That is a valid strategy. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking around its bases, not seeing anything. Caninana is out of here. Like, very well executed. I guess, yeah, I'm genuinely like, I don't know what Caninana should have done better, and I usually have something to say, but I guess just trade more efficiently. Maybe try and squeeze out some infestors. Like, it did go for a lot of tech here. Like, it got Neural Parasite. That's expensive. You don't need Neural Parasite against a few Void Rays. You just need Fungal. You don't need the Hive at all. I mean, I was trying to get Adrenal Glands, so I guess that's part of it. But yeah, I guess just stabilize more. And yeah, maybe Caninana should make sure it's got, like, I don't know, more supply or something than its opponent before it techs up. But that's a whole can of worms. Who knows? Very difficult to say what the Zerg bot should have done. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.